They desperately want this, as new reports have dropped revealing that rival NBA teams and executives are hovering around the Sacramento Kings team right now, who are struggling to start off the season and looking to see if they end up blowing it up, specifically with hopes of bringing in De'Aaron Fox. Now, obviously, this team has had a really rough stretch as of late. The start of the season has been extremely disappointing, but rival NBA teams see the elite talent. Everything I've been saying out here on these videos, they've been looking at all the talented top tier guys out here on Sacramento, are looking to pick this team apart, buy low when this team is down, and essentially rob us to our core. So we're going to break down what this report is saying, the likelihood of the Sacramento Kings blowing it up, and frankly, what the Kings should do with the direction of this franchise. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but folks, I just want to say thank you. You guys got us to 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate every single one of you guys that have been tuning into the vids, watching the vids as of late, and joining this Kings community we're building here. Through the highs and lows, you know how it goes with Kings basketball. We appreciate every single one of you that have joined this community here on Kings Digest. So appreciate every single one of you, but now we're going to dive into a report that I am less appreciative. I'm more fired up about because, again, I'm frustrated. Every Kings fan that's watched this team play over the course of the season is frustrated because you see the vision, you see the high-level talent, you see so many guys out here on this roster that are really amazing out there on the basketball court. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, obviously, Domas, DeRozan, right? DeRozan's a guy that I feel like is going to get some hate on because, you know, he was the big acquisition, the team didn't really improve and stuff, but he has been phenomenal for the Kings team this season. But really, just the overall roster construction hasn't really been put together completely, and I'm still hopeful that there's some minor moves, some minor tweaks that, without sacrificing the future of this organization, without giving up a ton of draft picks, without doing anything crazy and absurd to course this season. But obviously, outsiders looking in are looking at what's going on in Sacramento and saying, hey, this is a prime team for a rebuild. This is a prime team for a trade request from De'Aaron Fox. So we'll break down what this report is essentially saying here right now. As coming from Matt Moore of HP Basketball, last month, De'Aaron Fox turned down a $165 million extension. And the assumption was that it was about next summer's financial opportunity for Fox and nothing to worry about. Other executives aren't so sure. They are ready to pounce. One thing that likely has changed the conversation immediately is if Fox secured an all-NBA selection and opened up a supermax opportunity for him to re-sign. And that's absolutely on the table for a player averaging 28, 5, and 6, with room to improve his efficiency. If he doesn't, however, which, again, with the Kings record, it's going to be tough for Fox to make an all-NBA selection, and the Kings season goes sideways, things are going to get hot. Fox is represented by Clutch Sports, which means there's always drama around the corner. So this is coming from Matt Moore of HP Sports, and again, De'Aaron Fox, obviously, this season has been phenomenal, right? His actual up-to-date, adjusted stats, 27.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists per night. His three-point shooting isn't bad, 34%, shooting 23% corner threes, but again, most of his shots, you can see, most of them, over half aren't assisted, so, or over half are assisted, but, that's a very low number for a three-point shooter, the magnitude of Fox. He plays solid defense. De'Aaron Fox, we know how good of a basketball player he is, but there was a lot of chatter, a lot of discussions, a lot of worries about De'Aaron Fox's contract situation when he initially turned down that contract extension, earlier on this year. And there were some quotes that came out from De'Aaron Fox before we dive into the analysis, before we dive into other NBA executives looking to pounce on this Kings team, losing De'Aaron Fox and things like that. But basically, De'Aaron Fox essentially said when all this stuff came out that, for one, I am in no rush. For two, I want to make sure where we're at. Because people have seen the league, like the turnover, a team can happen in the matter of a month or 2 or 6 months. I mean, if we are a contending team for a championship, it might be different, obviously, but Jason Tatum, obviously Bam Adebayo, who have been to the finals twice, are in the same draft class as De'Aaron Fox, and they've been to the finals twice. I'm just using people who are in my draft class, and they've already been through that, deep playoff run, done that. So yeah, that's obviously the security of having done that for me. Obviously, we're continuing to rebuild. So again, a little bit of a disjointed quote there with all the little subliminals and things like that. But basically, De'Aaron Fox, when he didn't pick up his contract extension, pointed to the Jason Tames, the Bam Adebayos of the world, who are top-tier players in his draft class that made deep playoff runs. It's something he is searching for, he's desiring for. And now, with the direction of this team, given how bad this season has been so far, right, those tensions might be escalating. Now, other teams are coming in like Hawks, trying to pluck away this Sacramento Kings roster, bone by bone. But really, there is more context to this Fox report. There's more context to this quote. Essentially, he said that I would love to be here, referring to Sacramento, for his entire career. To be one team, one city for my entire career, it's not unheard of, but it doesn't happen a lot. So to be in that category would definitely be great. And that's something that's amazing. You're able to obviously build your life, your family, your entire career in one place. And that's everyone's dream. No one wants to be bouncing around from team to team, but I want to make sure we're in that position to be competing and competing at a high level for a very long time. Not just fighting for a playoff spot. Obviously, that's the way the West is going. We have to continue to get better as a team and as an organization. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not staying, but I would love to be here. I want to make sure that we're competing at a high level. So Fox clearly has an emphasis on winning, but he would love to be in Sacramento. So again, if this season was going smoothly, if this record was better, then the contract situation for De'Aaron Fox would be a complete nothing burger. I mean, he is an expiring after next season, so this is the time of year, this is the time of someone's contract, especially at the age of De'Aaron Fox, where the trade requests generally happen. Oh, get me on a new team so then they can stem me. I can figure out where I'm going. Put the agency in the hands of the player to make things really move forward. So this is the time when it would essentially happen, but Fox has made his points clear. He wants to be in Sacramento, but he wants to make sure that this team is winning, and it's going to be a desirable destination for him to really be in. And, looking at the roster, there's not a lot of moves that this Kings team can make to really bolster the talent right here, right now, right? Sabonis, you're not trading him. Fox, DeRozan, Malik Monk, those are core 4 players that are out there in terms of not getting dealt. Then you have the Kevin Huerters and the Keegan Murrays. Murray especially has been disappointing. His trade value is much lower than it was this time last year. Keegan Murray could have easily been the centerpiece of a Pascal Siakam trade, of an OG Anunoby trade, but the Kings decided to hold out, which makes sense, right? Given the potential that Keegan Murray was showing there at that point, but now that with his lack of development as a three-point shooter, I've seen a lot of criticism thrown the way of McNair and different guys for not making those types of moves happen. And then, obviously, Kevin Huerter, whose trade value is just fallen off a cliff. You look at that, it's like, okay, it's kind of an expiry, right? Like, it's not, you're not locked in for 3-4 seasons with that contract. So that's your trade assets there at this point. Devin Carter plays the same position as Fox, essentially. So, haven't got to see a real good look of him, coming into this year. And then you just have a bunch of role players that you're not going to get value for, right? Trey Lyles, Alex Len, Doug McDermott, Jake Crowder, whoever the heck's out here available to be traded, those guys. And then Keon Ellis, he's a valuable piece, but he's young and up and coming. He hasn't proven anything to where a team is going to be, chomping at the bit to bring in Keon Ellis for a major trade package. So there's not a lot of ton for, external improvement on this team, except for a nice steal, nice move around the edges that can build up this squad. So, look at the future. If this is the core, if this is what's locked in, and De'Aaron Fox wants to be a team that's in the upper echelon of the Western Conference, but this team can barely sneak into the play-in picture, I mean, that is signs for concern. And the NBA desperately wants this. The rival execs, the rival GMs, they want to be able to come in and look at this Kings roster and just pick it apart. Whether it's, De'Aaron Fox, whether it's a DeMar DeRozan, whether it's a Sabonis, whether it's any of those guys, they're going to look at the star players on this team and be like, hey, bring me those pieces. And frankly, if this season continues to go down the toilet and the team isn't able to make a really smart move, a savvy, acquisition, if things aren't able to come together, because again, the Kings have dealt with some injuries, but they haven't been plagued by injuries this year. They aren't able to make one of these really nice moves, then maybe you seriously have to consider trading a De'Aaron Fox. You have to consider trading DeMar DeRozan, a Sabonis, and, start that rebuild, facilitate that direction. That's a really, really tough decision to make because, again, there's so much talent on this roster, but you don't want it to be in a position where you're left holding the bag. De'Aaron Fox leaves for essentially nothing, or he demands a trade, and, there's not a lot of leverage that you have left on his contract. It's a really, really tough spot to be in. I'm in no means rushing to go in that direction, to move in that space, but it is something that other NBA teams, other NBA GMs are looking at here right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What direction do you want to see this Kings team going? Day by day, loss by loss, it's getting harder and harder to stomach, what's going on. But I don't know. We're sticking through. We're going to figure it out here at Kings Digest. But you guys are the best. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.